Good evening, Quilted Northern executives. My name is MC Landell. I'm the primary project manager of Crimson&Blue Solutions, and I'd like to introduce to you my team.
My name is Sydney Pop, and I'm head of HR.
My name is Rachel Haddock, and I'm the project implementation manager.
I'm Paul Vicente. I'm the project data analyst.
And I'm Keaton Cross, and I'm a project manager.
Over the past year, Quilted Northern has seen a lot of progress. And right now they're facing the challenge of where to take their company now. And through this challenge, we have found 4 different options. There can either be no changes, you can expand Arkansas, you can move Plush to Wisconsin, or you can move Plush to Oregon. And here we have a few considerations of the task at hand. And our main thing is expanding on the production and growth, as well as continuing the current success that there is within the company. Our proposed solution is to move Plush to Oregon and just make Arkansas and Wisconsin strictly soft and strong.
So one of the major factors we looked at when analyzing what to do with the situation is the demand by region. And 3 major statistics we found was there's a 91% increase in demand for Ultra Plush on the West Coast, 111% increase in demand for Ultra Plush on the East Coast, and a 12.5% decrease for demand of Ultra Plush in the South. And this data supports moving Plush out of the Arkansas plant. Some overall demand graphs here. West Coast demand, as I just previously mentioned, 91% increase in Plush, 18% increase in soft and strong. And this is what the graphs look like for that, as well as some projections of the future for the next 5 years for Plush and soft and strong. Demand on the East Coast, like I mentioned, is 111% increase in Plush, 50% increase in soft and strong. While both of these demands increase, we see that this data provides strong support for moving Plush production out of Arkansas once again. It's more a visual representation of demand on the East Coast. Demand in the South is actually the only place where we saw a decrease in the Plush, and they had a small increase in soft and strong. And that's just more evidence that Plush should be moved out of Arkansas. As you can see, continuing increase in demand for soft and strong for Arkansas, which is one of the reasons why we'd like to change production of soft and strong to Arkansas. And lastly, Midwest demand, which didn't provide much significant data for us, but 50% increase in Plush demand and 26% increase in soft and strong demand, as evidenced by these graphs as well.
Something else that we kept in mind was the construction estimates for either expanding Arkansas or moving it to either Wisconsin or Oregon. So the expansion cost of Arkansas would be $188.5 million, which we felt was just way too much. Switching to Oregon would be $10.5 million, and switching to Wisconsin would be $10.6 million, which is fairly similar. So we had a lot of issues with expanding Arkansas as an option. First of all, like I said, the construction cost. We just feel like that's way too much of a burden to be taken at $188.5 million. Also, something to keep in mind is the time to build. 280 days it would take to build an expansion on Arkansas, which is a lot of lost production, 310,000 cases of toilet paper. All that together, you're looking at a revenue loss of $68 million, over $68 million, which is a big hit for your company. So with all of that said, we really eliminated Arkansas as an option just because we felt that Oregon and Wisconsin would be a lot more profitable for you guys. So the demand for Ultra Plush in the South is a 12.5% decrease, another issue with keeping Ultra Plush in Arkansas. When you look at the demand for Ultra Plush in other regions, they're significantly better than in the South, 91% in the West, 111% in the East, 50% in the Midwest. So to adapt to these changes and these future projections, it is necessary to move out of Arkansas.
So right here, just quickly, we have the gross profit for Oregon, and then we have the gross profit for Wisconsin. And so basically, if we were to move to Oregon, we'd be grossing about $30 million more, and our production would be cut by about 5 times less than it would be if we moved to Wisconsin. Now, we also prepared a SWOT analysis, which is a way for us to evaluate our plan and also measure it moving forward. And so the first aspect of the SWOT analysis is our strengths. And we believe the biggest strength of our plan is that really we are finding a way to meet the demand for plush, but also without decreasing the production for soft and strong. As well, there's a lower switching cost, faster switch time, and we're also better meeting the demand by region. Now we do have weaknesses with our plan. The biggest weakness is that we're not increasing plush by as much as we would be with Wisconsin. But we do believe that this is a safe option because we will be producing just enough plush to meet demand. Now, Wisconsin does have a higher production capacity for plush, but we believe that Oregon is still a better option. Now, externally, we do have some opportunities that we're capitalizing on. Namely, those would be that, we're allowing for continued success of production of soft and strong, and we're also finding a plan to increase our southern wholesale production in the south for plush. We do have several threats to our plan. We believe that it's very hard to predict demand, and we could possibly there's a possibility that we won't be meeting the full plush demand. So that is probably our biggest threat to our plan currently.
Now, our implementation plan can basically be broken down into 3 parts. As you can see, the first part is to shut down the Oregon mill to begin the switch process there, and that will be done on June 1st. The second step is to reopen Oregon's mill on July 10th, and that is the same day that we'll close Arkansas's mill to begin their construction of the switch. And then finally, the last part is when we reopen Arkansas on August 8th, and then at that point, all mills will be producing at full capacity with the specific product that they're going to be producing from then on. Now, we do realize that the best way to make the implementation plan go as smoothly and efficiently is to focus on the personnel of the company. And so what we have put in, our plan that we have put in place for the personnel is to bring in Jason Allen and help him help you, Olivia, down in the South in establishing and developing more southern wholesaler connections to ensure that we are producing and selling as much as we can in that region. On top of that, Jackie Engel, we know that you have a brilliant track record in managing in Wisconsin as well as with both products. So what we'd like to do is bring you in to help Emily Green down in Arkansas, who we know only has worked with Ultra Plush and not the soft and strong product. And we'd like to bring you in maybe, say, once a month to just help her and ease her in the transition of learning the new product, as well as making sure that she's managing how she needs to and in the most efficient way. Our only possible threat would be with Nick Jones. He doesn't really like change, he doesn't really want to make this switch, but even though he's probably the main person that doesn't support this plan, he's definitely the most capable of making it work due to his ability to lead in a stern manner. And if any other problems arise, then we go ahead and we have a couple of options from there. So as you can see, our long-term goals for the company would be to promote the growth of both products, as well as making sure that we're meeting the demands of both products in all the regions. We also would like to minimize costs in production, as well as maximize profitability of the products. And essentially, we want to do all of this while also satisfying all regional managers at each location. So to summarize, based on the costs, logistics, and demand that we've found, we can conclude that the best option to ensure that your company is producing and producing successfully is to switch the Arkansas and Oregon mills production techniques. So thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we would love to open up the floor for you guys to ask us any questions you might have.
Can you please put the summary back up?
Oh, absolutely.
So given the increase in demand on the plush product, and you sort of alluded to this concern, but we're going to be pretty close to being maxed out of production in Oregon, so we're going to make this big investment in switching. And then based on the trends, we're going to be maxed out in Oregon pretty soon. Thoughts on that?
One problem we had with moving plush production to, as the presentation alluded to, we kind of ruled out Arkansas completely for producing plush. So we kind of narrowed it down to Oregon and Wisconsin. And one problem with reducing plush in Wisconsin is that when you do that, you're underproducing soft and strong by 586,000 cases, which we evidenced on, let's see here, this slide. So when you move plush to Wisconsin, like I just mentioned, you're almost 600,000 cases underproducing soft and strong, as opposed to 112 cases of underproduction of plush.
And the ruling out of Arkansas was based on cost.
And that was also the
was
only
based on
reason that
losing-
had the decrease in demand for the plush. So we felt it wouldn't be necessary to keep it in the one region that didn't have an increase in demand for the plush product.
Gotcha.
Okay, can I follow up on that? Because you gave evidence of increased demand for plush on the East Coast and the West Coast. I thought you were moving to a transportation savings argument, but yet you moved the plant as far from the East Coast where our demand is actually growing stronger than it is on the West Coast. So I was wondering what your thinking was in terms of the transportation costs to a market where plush is growing, the demand is growing faster than any other region.
Absolutely. So when you look at the overall ultra plush to Wisconsin, total shipping costs are $129,000 to ship everywhere all over the country, and Oregon's are $111,000.
And we did take that into account at the beginning. We did think that it would make more sense to switch with Wisconsin as opposed to Oregon due to the shipping costs. But we also saw that the way that the cost would kind of add on with switching between Arkansas and Wisconsin didn't necessarily outweigh the fact that we would have been spending a little bit more in shipping from Oregon to the East Coast. Because yes, Wisconsin, it's easier to ship kind of all over the place. It is pretty central, I mean, in terms of the Midwest and shipping to the coast. But you're not in moving to Oregon, we're saving money in other areas that would make up for the added on shipping costs.
But as far as shipping concerns, it actually is lower overall in Oregon than Wisconsin.
Any other questions?
No time.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back in touch, okay?
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so